Who's under more pressure going into 2026? Is it North Carolina coach Bill Belichick or Colorado coach Deion Sanders? Let's talk about it. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Who's under more pressure? Bill Belichick at UNC or Coach Prime at Colorado? Because I think you got a compelling argument for each of these. So let's start with Bill Belichick, who I think might be under the most pressure of any second-year head coach in the sport because of how he entered into UNC and just what the headlines have been out of UNC. So he arrives and immediately signs a contract that's going to pay him $10 million annually, making him one of the highest paid college football coaches in the sport on the strength of what he did in the NFL. And then not long after arriving as the guy who won 6 Super Bowls and turned Tom Brady into the greatest quarterback who ever lived, you have him put together a staff led by general manager Michael Lombardi that is supposed to resemble an NFL team, even going so far, in Lombardi's words last February, as to say, we think we're the 33rd franchise, the 33rd team. As 32 teams in the NFL, we're the 33rd, and that's how we're going to operate at UNC. And that's great if that's what you do. And Belichick is not the first head coach to try to implement something like an NFL model because of his experience and his respect for the NFL, and that's ultimately where college football players want to go. Herm Edwards tried to do this at Arizona State, and it was good until it wasn't. A lot of recruiting violations there at the end, a lot of just things that weren't nailed down correctly, but the discipline and the work ethic and the schedule, yeah, that's exactly what you would want. But the headlines coming out of UNC didn't really have much to do with the football team in the offseason. It had everything to do with Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. You got to put that all to rest had you had a great 2025. Instead, they opened the season getting stomped out by Texas Christian, and they finished 4-8 without their starting quarterback and having to go get something new once again out of the portal out of necessity. He turns over the offensive coordinator, Freddie Kitchens, and gets Bobby Petrino come in. We'll see how that works. I think Bobby Petrino is a great offensive mind and a great play caller. I also think that you're on a knife's edge if you are a UNC fan because you expect it to be great. You expect to be a losing program, certainly. And when you look at just who had a great season in that conference, if you're looking at Virginia, we're looking at Georgia Tech or Duke, who won the ACC title, or Miami, who played for the national championship, you're probably asking, what is all this money that we've invested into Belichick and the program going to do? What is it going to prove? And then insult to injury, earlier this year, Belichick was snubbed from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And there seemed to be something like a conspiracy to some to keep him out. For others, just the way the voting went. Vahe Gregorian went out of his way to say, I did not vote for Bill Belichick. I voted for guys that had an opportunity to get in for the last time. The NFL has since cut. We're going to take a look at our policies and our voters and probably do some culling. Look, one of the things that is interesting about being a voter in one of these institutions, like I vote for the Broyles Award, among other things, they can take their vote anytime they want. They also love it when you talk about their institution, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but it's all about the optics, right? You want the electors to be people that other folks respect so they can layer their respect over to whomever ends up winning this award. You make it a bigger deal. You make it into something that is important. Like the Heisman Trophy's got thousands of voters. It's the biggest trophy in college football. Getting snubbed by it, sure. And some voters go out of their way to just not vote for the best player in college football or have their reasons for why they think the guy isn't. All this followed Belichick to UNC, all of it. Tom Brady going to Fox, the Patriots being good. They made the Super Bowl If you didn't notice, just this month to play against Seattle, they didn't play well, but they did. And they did it with Mike Vrabel and Drake May, a UNC alumnus, right? I think you go 4-8 again or 5-7, you might actually have to think about kicking rocks on Bill Belichick. Meanwhile, what happens if you go 4-8, 5-7 at Colorado? Interesting. So Prime is once again turning over the roster, turning over the offense coordinator. He's lost a lot of good players though, and I think that really is reason to be optimistic about what Prime can do as far as development. Jordan Seaton to LSU, DJ McKinney to Notre Dame, Amarion Miller to Arizona State. These are good players that Colorado made, and then those guys into the portal, they go get the bag, they go play on what have been better football teams in the last 3 years. He also was able to return 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis, which is massive, huge. And he added Brennan Marion, offensive coordinator, with the go-go offense that I think is going to make them a lot more fun to watch and perhaps even give them a run game to speak of. It's a 2-back, 3-wide receiver offense. Some really interesting formations. I think Colorado fans are going to have a lot of fun watching it. Doesn't fix the defense, though, right? Another losing season for Colorado might not be enough for athletic director Fernando Lovo to go looking for a new head coach, but it ain't going to do anything to make Colorado fans and or just neutrals feel better about the program. And then it starts to get real because there are a couple statistics that I think will blow your mind in as far as Colorado. Prime needs a fast start for his program. Of that, I'm sure. That game that they're playing against Georgia Tech is going to be huge because they haven't won a single football game since October 11th of last year. And that was against a ranked Iowa State, but a depleted Iowa State. An Iowa State that got beat, but probably doesn't get beat if it had been at full strength during that game. It's a game also Colorado stormed the field. That's how down bad the program felt at the time, right? You're playing musical chairs at quarterback. You're fighting for your life against Delaware. You let it get away from you against Georgia Tech, those sorts of things. And then there's this one reason I really think he needs a fast start. They haven't won a game on the road since November 9th, 2024. And that was when Colorado was ranked number 21 and they beat Texas Tech 41-27 in Lubbock. So they haven't won a game since last October, and they haven't won a game on the road since November 2024. Neither one of those things makes you feel good, and both of those things need to get laid to rest very, very quickly.